This is a response video to MJtanner's video, Spite is Ruining Media, and if I say anything that's wrong, feel free to reach out to me and point out any faults or discrepancies. Do not harass MJtanner or anyone who's a fan of them. I just want to talk to them. Anyway, I agree that spite ruins media. Some of the worst media out there tosses aside their story to get on a soapbox and preach about ideas they believe are righteous. It doesn't matter what side, liberal communist furries or far-right anti-woke neo-Nazis. It's annoying as hell, and I certainly don't trust corporations as allies of people of color and LGBTQ+, whenever Black or Pride Month that rolls around the corner, because they start singing a different tune the moment those months end. Now, my issue with this video is that everyone has their own idea of what it means to preach a message in a movie. Because at this point, the existence of a woman is considered woke. There are movies out there that I don't think are shoving messages down your throats, but other people think they are. So why act like these movies are doing something that I don't agree are doing? I made a video a while back about Rey Skywalker, and one dude in the comments said something about how my interpretation of a movie is what I imagine a movie should be, and not what the movie actually is. I guess we forgot about what perspective was. People have different opinions on movies. Yeah, we saw the same movie, but we interpret them differently from one another. Is that wrong? Am I stupid for thinking differently from you guys? Yes. Yes, I am. But that's my job to call myself stupid, not yours. Speaking of stupid, why does every YouTube critic have to prop themselves up as smarter than everyone else who they see as stupid? Tossing aside any sense of humbleness just to appear as woke as possible. It's hard for an average guy to relate to someone who's got a really calm and collective demeanor and they got a really pretty persona, but apparently a lot of you don't mind seeing PNG Sonas being as good looking as possible, so I digress. As you can tell, I'm a petty piece of shit. I have more of a problem with the way MJ articulates their points rather than what they say. In fact, I have that issue with a lot of YouTubers who act like there is this really big issue that I have to take seriously, and if I don't, then I am part of the problem, and I'm brainwashed into thinking that I enjoy stuff you guys hate. I am ruining your childhood. It's all the same talking points about how you should respect your audience and you should be faithful in your reboot, adaptation, sequel, whatever. I swear, you can say all these buzzwords in however order you want and nobody will be lost listening to you because you're just parroting shit they already agree with. It's gotten to a point where just saying words will make people go, yeah, yeah! MJ's video is just a pedantic regurgitation of shit I've heard before with no cohesion, and it's been living in my head rent-free because I think it embodies my issue with all those anti-woke grifters and all-around cynical criticism of Western media that insults their audience, which explains why they're failing. Which, by the way, Hollywood isn't dying. They're doing just fine. Null periods are normal for all businesses. And you're not even unique for having any of these opinions. You're just because you don't see Hollywood parodying what you guys say doesn't make you guys any special. Yeah, good for you that you believe that spite is ruining media and that story is the most important thing in any movie or show. But I don't see why you think you're special for believing that. Everyone agrees with you, it's Media Consumption 101. Actually, can we stop calling ourselves consumers of media? You keep on saying you hate slop, so why do you have to say that we consume movies and not say that we just watch them? Because calling people consumers sounds insulting when you bring up how most movies these days are slop. We're not pigs, we're monkeys. I just don't see how you can live like this, analyzing media and parroting what everyone says and acting like what you say is unique and cutting edge. Does it make you feel empowered by speaking out against Disney? Does it feel great to be passionate about preserving the artistic integrity of fucking children's entertainment? Do you feel all this spite in media is targeting you in particular, MJ, just because you don't like Captain Marvel or the Ghostbusters reboot? Let's take a step back for a second. Every time these industry pros talk about haters, they specify that those haters are bigots. Just because they call their critics haters and bigots doesn't mean that they are calling you in particular a bigot, MJ. They don't mean the rational critics, they mean the really vocal haters that harass actors on their Instagrams. Like if a woman got back from a long day at work and she said, "I hate men," she doesn't literally hate the male gender, she's just really tired of the men she had to deal with at her job. People shouldn't have to be super mega specific about their speech. Brie Larson doesn't hate white men. She just thought it was weird that white men are the ones that get attention when talking about media for black women in particular. I mean, you don't go to a rich white guy for his opinions on the black struggle. And yes, you can be white and be educated on the black struggle. I am not trying to gatekeep knowledge on other races and cultures. I am just saying, Brie was onto something, but you guys misinterpreted that as her being closed-minded and gatekeepy. I mean, how would you feel if some guy you've never met before starts speaking for you, even though he knows nothing about you? That's what I think Brie was trying to say here. And besides, a lot of people in live events say a bunch of shit they don't mean just because it's a lot happening and they're not thinking straight. Just don't take it too personally. It's not that deep. If it doesn't apply, let it fly. But at the same time, I can understand if it gets annoying if you're just watching a movie and all of a sudden Glob Shitto goes on a rant about the Industrial Revolution and its consequences. Equally so if a creator won't shut up on Twitter about her haters, and to an extent their political views. But you shouldn't feel attacked whenever a movie or show or video game stops everything to get on a soapbox. It's just really annoying when it happens. It seems kind of sad to be attacked when Teen Titans Go, of all things, calls you a poopy head. Are you really going to get annoyed at being called a poopy head? No adult, living or dead, has ever seriously called someone a poopy head as a genuine insult. And for the record, that episode is dated, so I'm not trying to justify them saying dated nonsense. It's all shit made to rile you up, and y'all are getting riled up. So why are you getting riled up over stuff that was meant to rile you up? And even then, is it really a bad thing to create shit that riles people up? I mean, trolling can be really fun. I think people should be allowed to be motivated by spite. I mean, for God's sakes, you made that rant video to spite all of the media that you think is bad because of spite. Some well-regarded movies have been made out of spite. One of my favorite movies and game series is all about spite. And yes, I think Uwe Boll challenging his critics to a boxing match, which, by the way, was entirely voluntary, is the most based thing you can do. Because frankly, I think some fans need to be taken down a peg. I can understand you shouldn't bite the hand that feeds you, but what if the hand that feeds you slaps you on the face? True story. I met an Elmer Fudd-sounding dude at MomoCon, and Vivzy Pop was doing a meet and greet. This motherfucker had a whole portfolio of plot holes in Hazbin Hotel and Hell of a Boss, so I can only imagine that this freak was going to walk up to Vivzy and confront her about these plot holes. So you're telling me that she has to take it because it's constructive criticism? I would hope not, because the main issue here is that there is a time and place for criticism, and this isn't it. It's just so many annoying, pretentious-ass people think they're so smart for confronting these creators, writers, and voice actors. You know, the people who's just doing their job, and they just don't want to hear it anymore. Can you blame these people for not wanting to deal with their fans and haters, and critics especially? MJ, you're not a famous creator, so you and I won't get to experience what these industry people experience every time they go to a con. But I hope it won't happen for any of us, because it sounds like hell. I just don't agree that we should never insult our audience, because sometimes it's fun to poke fun at really annoying and cringy people. For fuck's sakes, you're making fun of the industry people for being annoying and cringy, so why can't I make fun of entitled femboys? Because you feel called out? If a director calls their critics racist, why do you feel called out? Are you racist? Were you offended when the Animaniacs made fun of their fanboys? Again, if it doesn't apply, let it fly. Do you think that means they hate any and all form of criticism ever if they ever make fun of their fans? Do you not think they have other friends and coworkers telling them that their ideas are bad? A movie is a multi-joint effort, and if a person is being a hard ass to work with, then karma's gonna bite them in the ass sooner or later, like the guy who made Fantastic Four. The industry isn't some hug box where everyone loves each other. It's pretty divided in who works where and who knows what, and what they all think of each other. If I could bring up an example of something I'm knowledgeable in, the animation industry. On the surface, it seems like everyone is friends, but Alex Hirsch isn't out eating lunch with Mike Judge, Seth MacFarlane isn't hanging out with Gendy Tartakovsky. Butch Hartman, maybe. But my point is, the animation industry people that you see together were already friends to begin with, and the only times you ever see them hanging out together was for a panel. Elitism exists, but it's not all there is. I don't think anyone here actually likes Mindy Kaling, especially since she assaulted a guy on set and bragged about it to Conan.
But we had this one actor on the show named Lee Pace. He came on the show and we had to do this flashback sequence where we were in bed together in college. And we're just supposed to be having a conversation, but like he's so tall and he's so handsome that in the middle of it, he was just supposed to be like, "What do you think, Mindy?" And I was like, and I looked around, and I improvised just kissing him in the scene. And he asked me a question. I was not listening to him at all, because who cares what he was saying? And I was just like, And then I walked backstage. We have two writer-producers, Ike Barinholtz and David Zassin, and they were like, "Hey, man, what are you doing? You could be sued for that." And I got very scared, and then I said, "Tell anyone and you're fired."
I think you guys should shift your priorities, because Velma being spiteful is the least of our problems with media. I genuinely do understand the annoyance of media being very angry and spiteful, but hasn't media always been that way? I've been watching a lot of Adult Swim bumpers and commercials from the 2000s, and a lot of them were very edgy and sarcastic and all that shit. For fuck's sake, sarcastic irony poisoned media was so popular thanks to the counterculture movement, which started as far back as the 70s. And the idea of the counterculture movement was supposed to be, it went against all the super squeaky clean advertisements and media of the 50s by showing reality how it truly is through exploitation films and just observations about how you shouldn't trust the government and corporations and whatever. As the years went on, so did the idea of counterculture, which started out as blunt and violent became boring because there were no walls to tear down after that. So now we went to subvert tropes, since nerds love to point out common tropes in media. TV tropes and its consequences have been a disaster for the human race. Buffy the Vampire Slayer was a Joss Whedon thing, so shit, I think you could blame him for media being so irony poisoned and thinking that they're hot shit because they pointed out a trope and are making fun of something that they feel so above.
Oh, Joss Whedon. Sensitive Joss Whedon. That's what we should call him from now on, is Sensitive Joss Whedon. That's a little clunky. Maybe we should use an acronym.
Oh, sure. You know, that's why disingenuous media is there, because people think they're above what they're writing, or like, oh, I'm smart because I'm not taking this seriously, haha. I would say Marvel movie writing, but even then, the recent Marvel movie output hasn't been like, that's a thing, sounded better in my head type of writing. I like to think that we're well past that. Modern media is filled with pretentious movies and shows that think they're being cool by subverting tropes that have already been subverted, but all this shit is nothing new. It's just evolving into subverting different things that they want to be subversive about. Some people are just late to the party on who and what they want to spite. 2016 wasn't the downfall of cinema, and feminism wasn't invented by Anita Sarkeesian either. It's just the internet has become more widespread, so now we have more access to these subjects than ever before. And we use that power and knowledge to shut everyone up because we feel called out whenever people talk about things we've gotten used to. I trust you're aware of this, MJ. I trust everyone is aware of how media has always been obnoxious and insisting upon themselves. I just don't know why people act like it's a new thing. Is it because you're realizing shitty movies exist and you want to point the finger at the domino for shitty movies? Because I could very well point to you the first ever blockbuster ever made being a prime example of a shitty movie. Alright, I don't know where else to put this, so I'm just gonna put this here. I swear if I have to hear about Smiling Friends and King of the Hill, Static Shock, Teen Titans being the best shows ever, and about how Raven and Azula are the best female characters ever made, I'm going to die. There are so many more movies and shows with stories and out there that are so much more nuanced and smart than all those shows and characters that I just mentioned. Y'all like to bring up like, oh, be like this show's good because it's an example of nuance and stuff, and like, no, I don't want to be exactly like something that already exists. I want to make something that is good and personal to me and personal to everyone else watching. Not every female character has to be Raven. You can criticize these movies all you want, but to make a sweeping generalization of modern media as a special kind of bad is, how do I say this without being offensive?
Retired. Yes, the phrase was retired.
If you think I'm trying to silence you guys, you're wrong. I just want you to relax, knowing that bad movies have always existed. You're not getting targeted for what you believe in. You're not getting targeted by your bullies in school who are now working in Hollywood to try to weed you out and the true fans of media so that they can have all the space in themselves. And even then, those kinds of practices have always failed them. and they resort back to being faithful again, I just want you guys to relax. Especially you, MJ. You should get some bath salts from Bed, Bath & Body on ba-ba-da-ba-da. And I should too. I actually have some jets on my tub so I can have a jacuzzi bath. It's awesome. Anyway, yeah, media should be nicer. We should all relax and not get so riled up over shitty media that doesn't matter. Take care and stay, bath salty, everybody. God, I've said media so much that I think the word has transcended all meaning and has become a greater being beyond existence.